What's the big idea?
All right. Yes. Episode number. Do you know what it is?
16.
16.
17.
Oh, yes. I was so
After
close.
16 comes 17.
Oh,
That's
you
right.
guys don't even listen to the show.
No.
Me neither. Man.
It's the fame.
We just post and ghost. No, we are on
I listen to
episode
the show.
episode number 17.
I watched the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good fix.
Yeah.
Someone's got to like it.
Yeah. I make fake accounts all day long, man.
All the comments are us.
Yeah.
You guys are great. I love you.
Pretty cool.
I love Soupy's hair. So this is episode number 17. This one is now, we've done the ultimate coaching season. We've done the ultimate parents season. So it's only fitting that we do the ultimate players season. So this is the episode where we talk to the players. Players, this is for you. Parents, you can listen into, I guess. Coaches,
If you want,
if you want to. Nobody's listening. Yeah. So ultimate players season. So this is the advice for what a player, the perfect or ultimate player season should be. Mindset things,
Yeah.
advice, things that we would have loved to do ourselves when we were younger. Only figured it out too late, which is like everybody in the history of the world.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. There's tip number one, kids. Don't worry about it if you're not perfect, because you're supposed to be young and dumb. We all were. I think we're still not young, but we're still dumb for sure.
Just continue to grow.
I'm not
Yes.
old like you guys.
No, you're not as old as us. Not as wise. Not as weathered. Not as seasoned.
Weathered. Good word.
Withered. Yeah. Okay. So does anybody want to kick things off for advice for players?
Well, I kind of broke it into...
Anyone at all? Just sorry.
Throw yourself in
asshole.
there.
Anyone else?
Let the young, dumb guys start
No,
first, okay? And then you
you're
guys
not-
can correct
You're
me.
not that young.
I just want to say how I broke it down. I broke it down. I kind of went tryouts, then I went like early team stages, then like in drills.
Okay, so you
on
made
the
it. You took an
road.
interesting topic and made it extremely boring with charts and. Okay, yeah, let's
Yeah,
hear this.
yeah.
Well, the first thing I did, I broke it down into categories of geographical points.
And then
No, sorry. All right, let's hear it.
I'm just trying to
Rip.
fill spit. You want
No,
me?
you're right. You organized it. You organized it.
I was gonna eat a candy.
You're
'cause-
folding up the
Yeah.
chocolate wrappers
Yeah.
quite nicely.
Thank you.
I wish I had a camera I could zoom in on. They look like Wrigley's gum. You're turning them from chocolate wrappers into Wrigley's gum wrappers. Wrigley's is another sponsor
Yeah.
of the show. We should full disclosure.
Yes.
By the way, if you want to sponsor our show, feel free to email us, info@volleyballogy.org, right? I mean, we're the number one podcast, volleyball podcast in the United States of America. I mean, what more do you want?
I mean, this is the time to get us while you can. So
Yeah, get us while we're...
You guys are gonna jinx it. I'm telling you.
yeah.
No, but it does help. You know, a little sponsorship money. I could buy some new clothes. I'm not wearing any pants right now. So.
They could get you some better sunglasses too.
Hey, my I still have my sunglasses. Don't make me put them on.
I didn't know eating was allowed on the show. Eating and
Yeah,
swearing.
Eric's supposed to be starting
I'm still
off the-
growing, so I'm allowed.
Eric's still. I'm gonna wear the
Let's take
sunglasses.
a moment to listen.
To Eric chewing in the microphone.
Sorry.
Oh, Eric! All the people in their cars are like, "This is gross.
Mhm.
Never listen to this guy again."
That's probably a foul. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Eric. Your camera's on you.
Okay. So tryouts.
Oh, you jumped. Okay, you went right to tryouts. Yeah, go.
I mean, this is just how I broke it down. Like,
Yeah, we covered this.
okay. I was just talking about like thinking of like being. It sounds cliche. Be yourself and like be respectful to others, but also like in a way don't like play favoritisms and like in a way demand respect for yourself, but not like, hey, be respectful of me, but just like with your body language, how you communicate, how you direct your attention, you know, how you like not looking down on the floor, like, you know, you have an assertive, you're just trying to like treat everyone respectfully, equally, and then that implies that that is how you would like to be treated, right? Because in the case of a tryout where you don't know anyone, right? The last thing you're trying to set yourself up for, hey, this could potentially be my team. So you don't know, and therefore just start from a point of strength and respect and attention. What else did I go here?
Can we comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Meech, what do you think about that? So body language, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So show up at a tryout with a good attitude and positivity. Meech?
Yeah, and bravo to those people that can start a tryout or start a season not knowing anyone. That's something that really, really takes a lot of guts. So kudos to you if you're one in that case.
Yeah, I think toughest thing to do is show up in a tryout and not know anybody. It's pretty cool. In some ways, it's cool because if you're the right mindset, you might be that person that wants to prove yourself in a good way, so it can give you a little edge. Or some people struggle with that. It depends on who you are. But I think you're right. Either way, you can come into the situation with a great vibe, right?
Yeah.
Attitude, things you can control versus things you can't.
Yeah, because these are teammates that could potentially be like amazing friendships, right? Or you never know. Like, say the team's formed, and then turns out like 4 weeks into it, this one person's kind of crazy or whatever, right? And like, so it's just kind of setting boundaries in a way.
Sorry. So you want to be give off a nice, like even a strong vibe.
Yeah.
In case they're toxic.
Or what if they turn into be a bully or something, right?
Right.
And like bullies latch on to, they go after people who, don't
stand up for them. So that's good. Yeah, I had that on my list too about body language.
Right. It's just
I find so what I like to do when I go into a tryout where I don't know anybody is I like to randomly punch people in the face. I find that gives off a little bit of and I pee on things to apply ownership.
Sets the tone. What's going to be on, what's going to be off, and making sure that people know, all right, this is me.
Yeah, this mofo is
I'm not
crazy.
messing with this guy.
That's right. That's right.
I like to twitch to my face.
I'm going to set him every ball, otherwise.
That's what you meant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, agreed. Next, go ahead.
What else I write? Yeah, so things like show up on time, and kind of like, so starting from a position like this, you're setting yourself up to be able to like take advantage of opportunities where leadership can be had, or you can be a leader, right? Like, so later on, once the team is formed, things like how do you describe leadership? But like in drills, like being positive to others and encouraging, and then also when you're doing well, like showing like effort is one great thing that kind of starts with part of leadership. But then
why are you so giggly?
I don't know, because I'm really messing my words up here.
Are you on anything, Eric?
No.
Are those regular chocolates?
I'm not on anything.
They're not laxatives, right? No, you're just saying that. So exhibit qualities that are leadership associated, like you said, showing up on time, doing the effort, being positive with other people.
Yeah.
And
because if you like, say you are a talented player, you will start to become a player that your other teammates will even look up to you in regards. And like, if there are some teammates, you may notice they may give you a negative vibe, but it could be that they're actually jealous of you, and jealousy is a sign of admiration in a way, right? So if that does happen, you hopefully don't want to then take it for negativity and then give that back to them. Maybe you can take a moment and just kind of see like, oh, maybe this person is just like, they like my hard work, and they don't like, it drives them crazy because they're not working hard. But if you keep your strength and your effort consistent, it may pick them up and elevate them to the level of your game, right?
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah. And if you're a weak player too, same thing. Like you can still come in with the same mindset, even if you're not the best player in the gym. It still will add to your ability to appeal, I think, to people. Like, so the majority of players will feel they're not a strong player in the gym. So they'll probably, by doing some of the things you talked about, it will elevate their status, I think, in coaches' eyes if they're worried about making the team, other teammates anyway. And it's contagious, right? So I think one thing that you hit on really well there was that an earlier point was the body language. I was worried about. I see a lot of kids coming to tryouts, especially when they don't know people, and they have that hunched look, and they have their hands up, and they're kind of like guarded. And to me, there's a dangerous thing in that, because you're basically screaming to all the bullies out there.
Yeah,
I'm a victim. Come and get me. Or to the coach. Yep, you can pretty much correct me, bench me, do whatever you want. Remember we talked about the plight of the tall player, where we talked about the coaches feel safer, I think, criticizing tall players because of that. Maybe they had a growth spurt early, so they don't have that strength. So I do tell players body language is everything.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, the whole fake it till you make it, people say it's a bad idea. But when it comes to posture, if you fix your posture at things, I find that sort of carries over to other things, other aspects of who you are. So like maybe you will chase after the ball faster. Maybe you will smile more, right? Because you're breathing better. And you will ward off the toxic people. Going back to the Nature Channel, right? The lion looks for the injured, wounded gazelle. They don't look for the strong-looking gazelle. Yeah. And all of that is about how it carries itself, right? So I know gazelles are very big on posture training.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. They work on it 24/7.
Yeah,
I think.
gazelleposturetraining.com.
And what do you think the lions are doing when they're scoping out the gazelles? Right? They're like looking. Okay, weak one. Oh no, that one's too strong.
Yes. Yeah, 100% same. And humans are the same, right? Humans are the same. We subconsciously pick up on the stuff, and we know which ones to look for and which ones we can target.
That's a big point. We subconsciously do it, whereas the lions are, they're not conscious, but they are. You know what I mean?
Well, this is what like abusers do too, right? They tend to look for weaknesses. They find people that are slightly damaged, and then they go after them, right? That's why it's so risky.
Even subconsciously. So I think that's also important opportunity to be consistent, like with your on-court presence and off-court presence. If you're taking time, if you're going to be an aggressive player, but be consistent in how you act off the court. Whether it be a team meeting, whether it be just having lunch with the girls or guys, whatever it is.
Meets as being gender
careful,
gender neutral,
also
gender neutered.
Off court's later. It's not right now. Off court comes later. So
yeah.
If you
remember, Eric
mind.
has a chart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But also following with that body language, it's also if we take that and then think of applying yourself in the sport, that's also not going to work well, because volleyball is a game of controlled aggression, right? And so if you're starting the practice that way, and like, you do warm up and you're still somewhat timid and like kind of clammed up, like you can't really, you're not going to be able to truly perform at a dig or spike or whatever, because we all know volleyball it's an on-off sport. Like you give everything, and then regroup. The rally's done, and then you give everything. And so
it's hard to be explosive if you're timid, and loose and free, like we talk about, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like if you could imagine, tell me how crazy this is, but if you can imagine yourself at the tryout or practice, and it's just you and like a coach you like or someone you like, and then they're going to teach you volleyball. It's like, it's fun. You're not worried about anything. It's just, you're not worried about others' perception of yourself. You're just focused on yourself, what you can control, what you can do. You have a coach, and then they're going to run a drill. There's an objective to it, and then you can go and you can perform and you can improve, right? So in a way, obviously that's not the reality. The reality is you're surrounded by a bunch of players, or a bunch of players you don't know, parents you don't know, they're all watching, stuff like that. But it's a bit of, really, in any given moment, you can go into that in your own head and just be like, it's just me here. Like I can work on what I can work on. And then, but also on the flip of that, there's open opportunity to create friendships and bond with other players and stuff, right? Because the good thing about that is if you jam with someone really well, and then you become friends, and then you both are kind of into the same thing of positive leadership, then you'll start to compete more and more. And then you two together will become a leadership unit, and then you'll more further inspire other teammates, right?
Right on.
And then it can go and it can grow and grow. So that's just if you have a team with a bunch of players with that, it's just, I think it's a recipe for a really good team.
Yeah, and behaviors are contagious, right? So good or bad. So just remember that if you're on a team and you're the one who's, I have on my list, the idea, understand the difference between toxic, like winners and losers, right? And winning mindsets are contagious just as much as losing mindsets, and toxicity is contagious just as much as positivity. So you have to be really careful. Like if every person on the team sort of takes it upon themselves to be positive and building up teammates, that really spreads. And it's especially powerful if you are one of the stronger players on the team. If you can be, take accountability for mistakes, take the blame even for mistakes, even that aren't yours. And it's a fine line, because there are some players that I see apologize for things that aren't their fault, and then that invites that same bullying that we talked about.
And it gives them a way out in a way.
Yeah, and it just gives everybody an excuse to, that was your fault, versus, but generally speaking, if people are like, I usually say, like, if somebody gives me a set that's too far inside and the setter says, I'll push it out, I say, no, that's my bad, I got to get that, I got to fix that, right? And that's how you do it. Or if I'm setting and, I'm the first one, even if I know that the set was pretty good and they messed up on it, I still take the blame. I say, you want me to push that out? You want that? It was a little low, right? It's a good thing to do, because that way it just feeds that. And the next time they'll take the blame. You know what I mean? So it's all contagious. So that's really good. Meech, sorry.
Yeah, it's a nice camaraderie, because then they're not feeling like it's all their fault. You're not feeling like it's all your fault. Whatever it is, you're kind of sharing it and keeping it even.
And it just doesn't bring we just watched a clip of some volleyball that came into us, and there were some players that were making mistakes and going up and giving advice to the other, passing mistake, and then the player was going up and talking to the setter like if it was their fault.
There was only one player doing this.
Yeah, one player on the court doing this. Yeah, but I'm sure, like, the thing is that when that player's not around, I guarantee you the next one on the ladder will do it to players beneath them, because one thing about bullying is that if you feel bullied, you're going to do it to someone else to feel powerful. If and that's in a team culture, sometimes you'll get the second tier player being a dick to the bottom tier player, because the alpha or whatever the head jerk isn't around, or the head toxic player isn't around. So it's a very interesting dynamic when you see that, because so if you have 5 people playing in a room, right, and one of them is bossy and blamey and rude, and then they leave, and watch what happens to the second in command. They will be that bossy and rude, toxic one to the next year. It's very fascinating to watch, and that happens in teams all the time. So
they might not even realize that they're doing it too.
No, it's just
I don't think they do.
It's just the need, right? Like if you're bullied and you feel weak, you're gonna feel the need to feel strong.
Well, that's it.
How abuse works too, right? That's why people who are, abused as kids or bullied as kids, they become kids that, let's suppose I hate to say, but kids that are getting hit at home, 9 times out of 10 they become the bully in the schoolyard, because they need to feel that power. It's just a psychological need.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eric, I cut you off.
Well, no, if we look at the reason behind it, the purpose of their criticism is to fill that need, to get that attention, or to feel important, and it's non-constructive feedback. It's it's non-constructive. But then in the purpose of, if you are being a leader on the court and you're giving feedback, the purpose of that is to improve your game and to thus improve the game of the team. So they're both forms of criticism, two different reasons as to why, right? So also in the example of being a good leader is that you're setting up a tone for non-judgment, right? And you have to kind of have that to be able to be and you probably want to start it by asking for feedback about yourself, and then by receiving feedback and not showing any malice towards it, or whatever,
any judgment based on the feedback.
And then that may also help you then be able to give feedback to others, right? And then hopefully you'll see how it works out. But
you also have to be careful though as a player, we talked about this, and we were talking about remember the books, personality tests, where some players don't want feedback from another player. Some players do, some players don't. And again, you're dealing with stuff that's way before the start of the season. Like, this stuff is deeper than, like, our tendencies are much deeper than it's who raised us. It's
and honestly,
genetics too, right?
At a young age, I don't really recall giving feedback unless it was asked for by another player. Like, if we're talking about blocking experiences and stuff like that, then I usually start from a point of my experiences and what I think is going on and how I see the game. But typically when I was getting feedback, it was from my coach, and I definitely wasn't running around the court being like, hey, you got to do this. You got to, like, I'm still learning, right? Mm-hmm. It's different now as like an adult and I've played enough, but it usually stems from someone asking me. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But you'll still get people, like, you have to be careful. Like, even if you played a long time, sometimes you still have to be careful because some people don't want to, they don't. I mean, that's the beauty of youth. You can
see them.
The beauty of youth is that we never know. We discount older, wiser, right? I think as a society we do it too. Young people don't want to hear it. Old people are like, all right, and the cycle of errors just keeps on going. Yeah, because we talked about this. You have to go through it on your own. So that's why I think people are hesitant, because especially the more insecure they are, right? If you're an insecure person, you don't like getting advice from someone. If you're a secure person, you're going to listen and see it for what it is, depending on how it's delivered.
But isn't coaching advice giving?
It depends on how it's delivered. Like, you mean from an actual coach, you mean?
Well, like, if we want to work on forearm passing, like, I'm not giving you advice. I'm setting up the drill, and it's like, hey, like, let's work on this technique to achieve this objective. It's not advice, it's more direction. But is it really that different?
Well, again, so some players aren't coachable, right? Some players are not coachable. Like, even if you set up the drill and you start telling them how to do it properly or correcting them, they don't want to hear it. That happens. There are lots of people who aren't coachable.
Are they coming to it in their own way, or are they, like you said, they just don't want to hear it?
No, like, I'm talking about,
as a coach, I'd be like, well, what you're here to compete and get better, are you not? Like, what's going on?
Because you're dealing with layers. You're dealing with so many layers. So some people don't want to hear advice because they see advice as you criticizing them as a person, not the skill.
Well, that's where
I'm talking about.
You're dealing from low self-esteem.
There's years of stuff to undo there, and it's really difficult. So that's why in the show we're giving advice to players and saying, like, listen, if that's you, like, if you struggle, a good thing is, like, if you interrupt the person who's trying to teach you something, or if you constantly say,
I know.
The big one is, I know. Yeah, I know. Because then the next question is, well, why the hell aren't you doing it then? But they always say, I know. If you're one of those people who are like, when someone's telling you something, you're like, yeah, I know, and they're still explaining it to you, that's usually a sign that you got that guard up, where you're not understanding that they're. So I always make a point, like, when I teach players, I don't tend to have this problem because I always tell them the why. So again, this goes into the coaching thing. Here's why it works. And again, and I always give them, like, you're doing a great job, or your serve's looking great. Here, if you want to make it even a step up better, or ready for the next level, just so sort of almost like a sales pitch before you start giving the advice.
Depends on the player, right?
Yeah, well, no, but I do it for everybody because it's just, you want them to buy in. It's funny, that terminology, you want the players to buy in. The coach is doing a sales job, right? They have to sell the players. Like, hey guys, hey girls, you want to win a championship, or you want to all be better?
Well, that's, you don't have to do it with all players.
No, but it's better if you do. Yeah. Why wouldn't you do it with all players? So, like,
we talked about this though, but some players just if we did that questionnaire, some just are okay with that open, direct feedback where you don't even have to give the sales pitch.
So the sales pitch is just a few lines before you get into the nitty gritty. It's not like, I'm going to trick you into learning. It's so the why should be discussed with every player. Right? That's what I mean by sales pitch. The sales pitch is just telling the player why we're doing this and why it matters. Because even the best of players might be like, what the hell are we doing this for?
Yeah.
So when I was a teacher, I remember even one of my stronger things that I used to do was, like, I always connect, like, some book we were reading. Like, I taught English and philosophy and history and all that. So I would always talk about why this subject matters. Because if we're talking about something from the 1600s, some kids are like, why the hell are we learning this? So I always connect it to what's happening right now in the world. And I kind of do this in all aspects of, so when you're coaching at skills, so many times, I see coaches and I see players not willing to have their players do things because they don't think they can. And I'm like, well, then that's just going to make sure they stay there. Like there's a why, right? Like, so why would you have them, if they can't do it, why would you not let them do it more? Like, it's just such a basic thing to me. So, no, you can't serve overhand, right? Young players, you can't serve overhand. Just stay with the underhand. Like, that's such a weird, because imagine if we had that philosophy from the beginning. Like so imagine if you were falling as a baby and someone said, "Oh, you keep falling. Just stay on the ground. Don't keep crawling.
Just stay in the pen."
Yeah, just that's literally what they're saying to them.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we took that approach in everything. Like, oh boy, they keep falling. Just do me a favor. Just slither everywhere. So that argument doesn't pass the why test. Well, why? Well, because then they're safe. But the answer is, well, if they don't learn how to walk, then they'll never be able to do things for themselves. And the same thing can be held for every skill in volleyball. Like, if a player doesn't develop the next skill, or if you don't let them do it, then you're just ensuring that they'll stay at that level longer.
I know I was questioning you about it, but I really like the why.
It has to be.
And especially if it's available, which it always should be in anything you do in volleyball, there's always a reason why. It starts from winning the game and then you break it down. But if it's quick to explain, and you're right, it does totally buy them in, because definitely having flashbacks to that younger days of learning the sport, that does happen. You get into the drill or whatever and you lose because you're focused on the movement or something like that, and you lose focus on what are we doing this for again, right?
Yes.
And so just bringing them back to that, it definitely is very
one
strong.
that I always used to do, because I used to ask myself, why was I doing it? I worked with a great coach, and he always used to make the kids do 2 push-ups after a missed serve, the whole team, because we're all in this, right? And some people would look at that and say, what the hell are you doing? Physical punishment? But he was like, no. And so I asked him, just because I was like, okay, cool, what, like, that's neat, a nice little punishment. He goes, yeah, you know why it's great? And he said, because it 2 push-ups is easy. It doesn't hurt much. It's like giving up a point. 2, you do it once, no big deal. You do it 10 times, you do it 20 times. And so he said 2 push-ups is perfect.
Dude, he had the answer ready. He had a reason for doing it. It wasn't,
and
just
it was just
blind.
2. It wasn't 10. Like, some coaches are like, give me 20 push-ups. He's like, no. 1 point is just 2 points, like a little dagger, but they add up. And I was like, that's awesome. It stuck with me forever as a coach. So I kept doing. I did that when coached high school and everything, because that's just a beautiful thing. Because it's just a little bit of, because in practice you don't feel these lazy moments, but
it becomes more of an annoyance. So that's why it kind of builds.
Yeah. And either you're going to become a great serving or passing team, or you're going to be jacked.
That's right.
You're going to be the most muscular team.
So you must have been a good server.
What's that supposed to? I'm gonna act like I don't understand what that means. Don't make me sit upright again.
Because you're not.
I'm injured right now, so. But wait till I'm not injured, then I'll be able to. Then I'm gonna work out every day, and eat healthy and sleep on time.
In philosophy.
In theory,
Yeah.
All right, so players, we got off topic there. Shocker. But not really, though. We were still talking about volleyball, yeah.
Anyone want to roll, or do you want me to?
Keep going. Let's go with yours.
Okay. Probably going to go down. No, I'm just kidding. Early team stages, be a leader. We kind of talked about this. Find friendship where possible, right? And then I think...
This is still the tryout phase?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm getting out of that now. But so, like, establishing yourself as a leader, you're going to kind of protect yourself from falling into favoritism or chasing popularity or going with this group or being weak and being bullied on or something, right? So it's always, I think...
So you don't mean leader as much as independent?
Yes.
Right, because leader is a kind of, not everybody's wanting to lead.
And I think I get to it like later on, is that you, by being independent, then opportunities to be a leader can present themselves and you can choose to, step into that or not, right? Because I think a lot of people who didn't even think themselves to be a leader or have high self-esteem or something may end up actually getting more of those opportunities.
Like Donald Trump. I don't want it was political. We're not getting I don't think Donald Trump saw himself as a leader. He had very low self-esteem until
until he was like, "Hey, wait a second.
I think I can do it." No. That's pretty good. Right?
That was really good.
I'm not gonna try it again. Not gonna jinx it.
Remember the Jamie Foxx thing I sent you? That was so funny.
They
man.
gave me the virus.
I beat the oh god.
I beat the
He
virus.
did it so well.
It's getting better.
Yes.
Anyway, we
Snoop
don't want to
Dogg
get
was
political.
beside him and he was dying laughing.
We don't want to get political. That's also going to go on the gear.
Yeah. What else I got? Be eager to try any role offered to you. So I guess not putting yourself into a box or whatever. It can kind of suck if like
Water boy.
you know you're a left side and then all of a
Water
sudden you're
girl.
playing libero or something.
Yeah. It can
But-
suck, but you know.
But again, like you need to look at what you can control and like say you are to put resistance in, and not to say you shouldn't maybe offer some resistance into something you don't agree with, but maybe, you know, by fighting that you'll realize this is kind of futile or something, right? But this is a lot to ask.
Well, but you're adding another whammy in. So if you do resist too much, then now you're like, not only are you like not the outside hitter that they think they want,
right.
but now you're like bitter and a jerk.
Yeah.
So like
Bit of
just
a
keep it,
diva, all these
keep
things.
it down. If you ever want to get, like you said before in another episode, like if you want to ever get back there, then it's got to be honey, not vinegar, right? Like you got to be okay, yeah, all in, and then they'll be like more likely to give you a shot. Whereas if you're whiny, bitter, and this is true in life, right? Like anywhere, if you're bitter and whiny and negative, who wants to reward that? So
Yeah.
good point.
Okay, now then I'm moving on to in drills. Truly, this sounds so corny. Truly try to improve at that skill or objective. Try different things, try different strategies, and I guess this goes back to what we were talking about with criticism. Be open to criticism, but then also don't because you're being assertive. Don't be afraid to ask why. But then I guess if you know you have a crazy coach, don't do it.
It's so hard. But you could ask
yeah.
nicely. You could ask nicely. So you could say like, so why would I stand here? Like, what's, you know, if you ask nicely, sometimes the insecure coach, if you ask properly, they'll be like happy that you asked, right? And then
Yeah.
they'll give you a shitty answer.
And in an ideal situation, you really understand the objective of the drill, and the drill is set up well, and say you're just not good at it. But if it's all set up well, you have the opportunity. Your body is this crazy feedback thing. And if you're just in the moment, you'll get better at it. Like we've all remember like learning how to like dig hard driven balls or whatever. It's just reps, and then truly trying to achieve the goal. You'll be like, oh, I need to have my posture like this or my ready position like this or whatever. And then really focus on right when the attackers makes contact with the ball, like you're kind of hyper focused in that split second, right? Because you're putting your whole, I don't know how to describe it, mind, body, whatever, you want to achieve that goal, right? You're trying very hard.
It's like you're shutting off the mind and reading. All you're doing is reading.
Yeah.
And like the flow thing.
You're after it, the flow. Yeah.
You're getting out of your own head.
Because I mean, I that's my favorite thing as a coach, and whenever I was providing instruction for someone, is that when I see them in that state and they're after the objective, even though they're not exactly executing perfect technique or something like that, but they're on the right steps towards the proper technique, right? And then they're really going after it. So that as a coach is what I love to see. Thoughts? Keep
You
going.
know, there's a that next step of like, you know, of progressing. Let's just say that they're going through it. I think that next step that you're really talking about is wanting it. If there's no want for that particular play, that particular dig, all the reading, all the going through the motions is in the world won't help you. But if you want it, boom, things can happen.
Yeah, like why are you there? You're there because the sport is fun, right? Like, and that's what's gonna get you more bigger fun is by wanting it.
More
bigger fun.
More
Which sounds
bigger
really
fun.
stupid, but Like, because playing more, getting better at the sport, you're going to play more competitive volleyball, higher level. It gets more intense. It's more rewarding. It's more and more in a way. Not to sound like a megalomaniac or something. With
bigger.
Terrible grammar.
More bigger, more fun.
I apologize.
No, but the
I'm the young dumb one.
thing Meech said that I really liked was like there's a passion there, right? There's a drive, and that comes up on my list too about being someone who expects to get the ball up, right? So many times I see players who don't expect to dig a ball. They don't expect to block the ball.
Yeah.
They don't expect their serve to go over. They don't expect to pass the ball. They don't expect to get a kill. They're playing to avoid the mistake rather than just lose it, like we talked about, get out of their heads and just chase, pursue, drive, play. Like, think of it this way, kids. So advice for players. I don't know if we've addressed players directly enough. Hey, player, if you are out on the court, right, and just the phrase get after it, go all out, go crazy, dig the ball, stay in your position, obviously. But, when that set goes up, take the extra step. Take a couple hops before you get into your spike approach. Chest forward. I see very few players, like especially on the girls' side of volleyball, very few of them are like chest forward, leaning in, just like drooling at the mouth, waiting for that set. The way you see real outside hitters, right? Like you're leaning in, you can't wait for that ball to get up. You're going to fly in there. Or when you're at the net and you're going to block, you're going up and you're expecting to get a touch or contact on that block, or block that ball versus the player who's just jump up, half put their hands up. So, if you're a young player like that, just think of the words of get after it. Expect to win.
Yeah, this I love because this is the huge thing.
That is a massive thing for players.
Yeah.
They walk in like they're not the best player, and then it becomes true.
Yeah.
And you can manifest some things through your attitude. Like it drives parents crazy too. Like you'll see it. Like the ball will be 10 feet in the air and nobody goes for it. No way, right? You should be bumping into each other over the ball, calling it and getting it, obviously. But the pursuit, the passion, the drive needs to be there. So players get after it. Just be tenacious and expect every skill you're doing. If you're the setter, it's going to be a money set. If it's a bad pass, I'm going to get their call off my players and make sure I set the ball. If you're a hitter, get ready to bounce, just get ready to jump and leap and swing as hard as you can at this ball.
Yeah.
Because in life, we're in boxes, right? In the day, in the mall, at school, wherever, you're just in this box, your jobs, right? Cubicle. But on the volleyball court, you can be free and you should be, and you'll find that if you get like that in sports, it'll spill into your life a little bit too, right? You'll break the law. You'll probably get arrested.
I find it's really helpful is to...
You're just going to ignore this.
It's helpful to think you're the best player.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, every single time you think of yourself as the highest level player.
Just be careful. Be careful who you're telling this to, because what if it's a crazy toxic jerk?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that after.
Especially when I'm on the court, I'm looking to say, I'm going to strap this on no matter what comes.
Sorry. You laugh. I was trying not to laugh. I was trying not to laugh.
This is for players, right?
Anyway, this is for players. Okay. Players. So you're gonna attack the ball. Okay. So you're just gonna
what do you got next, Eric?
Oh yeah, what's it? No, sorry. But means finish the point. Best player. Have some swagger. Is that the term you're looking at? Swagger.
Yes, that could be used as well. It's basically you can think yourself into the best mode, the best player at that moment, and that will create magic for you.
Especially for those players who typically don't think of themselves as good, right? Yeah, it really does help to think that you belong there. That's the expression people say. You belong here. People have to be told. So really understand that. Yeah.
This is like we're getting at the core of a huge thing when we've been in instructionals and coaching kids. Like it's one thing, yes, to teach the technique and the game and the positions and all that, but I feel like it's. I've only ever coached volleyball, but it's that I feel like half or more of the job is to just break them out of their shell of their own little personal confinement and play free and play with that aggression. And especially younger girls, at least the younger boys tend to be a little more, give me the ball and let me pound it.
Animals.
Yeah, they blast it out the back, whatever, right? But at least there's that aggression there and you don't necessarily have to
Sometimes you have to tame it.
you have to tame it.
Sometimes
right?
with boys, yeah.
But that aspect in volleyball is what what makes you an amazing attacker or defender, blocker, server. So this for me, this is a huge thing. Expect to get that kill. That's
It's kind of life, right? Like we always say, volleyball, is life. And that idea that you just release the reins, like people don't know in life what they can become when they unleash some stuff or shed some stuff and become not not a non-thinking person, but a very free person. So if you become a free-minded person or a free person on the volleyball court, that mindset is very free. Watch what can happen, because we can all see it. Parents and players, you might not see it in yourselves. Maybe you'll see it when you watch some video of yourselves, right? You might see yourself a little timid, but just think about what the greatest players you've seen professionally, even at your level, are like. They're playing free. They're going after it. There's no hesitation.
Yeah.
And again, going back to life, that's it, right?
Right.
We just talked about that before we were recording tonight, like the idea that people get it in their minds that the tough thing is to just lose the hesitation, go in, right, and just think that you can do it. So, that's a great point.
I just want to have a little tangent here. You were talking about it. Being free, wanting, like, you're going to attack that ball. Like, if, you're the left side, and if it comes out to you, like, you're going after this ball. But there can be two different situations, and it all determine your mindset is or your attitude is going to determine it. Is when the set comes out to you, and you either are in this zone and you go after it, even though it's not an ideal set, because oftentimes it's not an ideal set. It's very difficult to nail a perfect set as a setter, right? But the opposite situation or the counter one is when the set's coming out to you and you're already judging it and you're like, oh, this is such not a good set, right? If you're doing that, kind of think, you shouldn't be doing that, essentially, right? Like, you're not worried about you're kind of worried about the quality set, but like, you're going to do whatever you can with what you've been given, right? And oftentimes, sometimes it'll actually work to your advantage, because the other blockers are so used to a system set that if all of a sudden you get a weird one that's inside or outside or whatever, you may actually end up getting an open laneway, and then you can just pound on the ball, right? So just being hyper ready. Well, not hyper. Can you be hyper ready? I don't think so. But you want
eager,
and you're just that whole expectation of success, right? Like that. I've noticed. I've definitely experienced both of those, where I've just been in a bad mood or whatever, and then all of a sudden I see the set go up, and then I don't even try hard, right? And then what have I just told my setter? Right now, my setter's like, oh god, like being the setter is definitely the hardest role on the team, and now my setter's like, oh geez, like they're like, oh, was the set not good enough? Now you're making them self-conscious, or they're not going to set you the ball, or like, right? So that's just
that's good, because that's one of my favorite things too, and it's good advice for players. Whenever I see a player that like makes a sound on the court when the set's bad, like they're like, oh, and they go in and they just stand their body language is awful, and they stand on the ground and just like roll it. All that tells me is that they're more worried about people's perceptions, about they're not even worried about winning the point, by the way, right? Because they could have jumped. They could have went in and attacked it, but they were too busy making the scene so everybody knows why they're not hitting this. And that's like toxic loserville. And it just tells you that they are so worried about, like we talked about too, about that player giving advice to the other players on their bad passes, like what they can do to fix it, instead of looking with themselves and saying, my bad. That's what drives me nuts when I see players. They're not even concerned about winning the rally. They're more concerned about how they look to everybody there. Like, this is why I'm not hitting it.
Or if we've ever had a player swear just before you're about to hit it.
Oh God!
What do you mean? Oh, because like they set the wrong player or something? Or
let's say, for example, if the setter thinks that you're going to be trapped,
trapped
by your set, and you're going to get blocked. When you're hearing that in the air, shit, oh man, then it's like okay, something was wrong.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling. So I mean,
I would turn around on me and be like, "What are you doing? Get cover!" Like, yeah. There you go. There's
No faith in
yeah. Cover your hitters. There you go. Cover your hitters.
I thought you meant like that they're swearing because somebody set the player. Imagine that. It's like, oh, don't set Sally. And they're like, oh,
that's bad too.
I think that happens too. Like,
Why'd you set them?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. There's body language when you don't get the set. Right?
I've heard
Like,
that.
which I get. I get why players are
Yeah.
upset when they don't get the set. Everybody wants the set, but the tone, like, you don't have to be negative if you don't get it. It's kind of weird.
What else I got here? So, in drills, don't cheat. I mean, really, your coach should be correcting you on that. But yeah, especially in drills, like if the whole point of it is especially movement based or something, you don't want to. Anyway, that's a nitpick. But
You mean like don't cut corners in drills?
yeah, like don't. If the whole point is to start on the tee and then get back, like to
Oh,
start
you mean
high.
cheat like that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
Mostly
yeah.
with like movement. I really can't think of another example.
My favorite one is when there's like a setting or passing to 2.5 drill.
Yeah.
And then invariably, or like if they're hitting at a left side and passing, and then the whole team might be rotating through the setter's position just to get them all practicing. The setter slowly ends up in 3.5. And you're like, no, get the hell back to 2. Like, why are we passing to 3 and 3.5? Pass 2.5.
Yeah. Hopefully the coach picks up on that.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. Because they're going through the motions too. Right?
Yeah. Effort, right? Effort is, if you're not skilled, like effort can exude leadership or just you're trying hard and then picks the team up, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to, on the road. I'm getting corny now. Be yourself. I said that already. Know your values and your passion. You'll be drawn to similar teammates, right? Opportunities to make friendships. I guess we're already gone over a bunch of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there is, like, if you can create a good friendship with a teammate, like on the road, off the court and stuff like that, then in practice, like, you can compete harder. I guess I already said this, but it kind of picks the team up. You become like
doing that off court.
But
stuff,
it's just in the opportunity where if there is an opportunity to have a good friendship with a teammate, mm-hmm. I can only see.
So is this advice though? Like go make a friend.
Well, it's just, yeah, in a way.
Don't be pushy about it.
Yeah. And don't be too shy, I guess. But
hi, I'm Zuby. You want to hang out?
This is so hard to like give advice to young kids because they're still developing. They go through weird stuff.
I think one thing I would say that I think I know what you're saying, but be open to being friends, because I think some
that's what I meant to say.
Some teenagers are like too cool for school.
Yes,
and they're like, oh my god, that's so lame. I'm not gonna hang out with them, and my team's so a bunch of losers. Let yourself be a loser. We're all losers.
Yeah,
I mean, look at Meech. Sorry, I'm trying to show the young players, Meech, how not to be. Right? Don't bully. Don't bully. Right?
Don't bully, Zuby.
Don't bully. Otherwise, you end up like a weak piece of shit like Meech. I mean, shoot, I just keep doing this. Sorry, Meech.
It's why he has the Kleenex box close to him.
Yeah. And that ball. Sorry.
What else I got here?
Love you, Meech.
Yeah, avoid being cliquey. Don't close off to others, right? I guess that's what being cliquey would be. Okay.
That's a sign of a good show.
It must be done.
Okay,
they're humming, and they're only 40 minutes in.
Okay, in the rally.
Mm-hmm.
Be in the rally. The great thing about volleyball is that you get resets, and it's all based on when the whistle blows, and then when the rally starts, and
then when the whistle blows again.
It blows again. I was just gonna say, I was like, that sounds stupid.
When the rally starts and when the rally ends.
Yeah.
Between the whistles.
Yeah.
That's the name of Eric's autobiography.
So
you're saying be present in the rally. So like, what were you saying there?
Well, okay. So I guess watching, the clip we were watching earlier, mm-hmm. It's just this is common across boys, girls volleyball at younger stages. Like you get into weird rallies because it's scrappy. It's not like very well executed volleyball. So you get these weird scenarios, and players are caught standing or something, or the ball will come right to them. But because it's so out of system, it's so unfamiliar. and they're
Right.
just not staying ready all the time. Like you should be, as weird stuff is happening, always stay ready. Be aware where the ball is going, the body language of the person who's about to contact the ball, because you'll be like, oh, they're swinging forearms, they're gonna launch it back of the court, stuff like that, right? So just always, the rally is super short-lived, right? Just stay ready in it. And I think some people don't want to look like that in a way because it looks uncool, or like they're
so
trying too
self-conscious.
hard.
Yeah, they're very self-conscious.
Yeah.
And there's just not an awareness. Like one thing that I always tell young players, like to your
Not an
point.
awareness is, probably, yeah.
Well, I think no, but I mean, like the one thing I tell players, like if you should always be shifting. Volleyball players are always low and shifting, not too low, but they're always moving. So, like, if the pass does take someone out, you should probably shift over a step or two, and then if the set does go outside, you should all shift over a little bit to cover. So, volleyball players are never just standing around; they're always shifting based
Very
on where the ball is.
fluid,
Yeah, it's
right?
very fluid, and it's like one organism moving, right?
Yeah. Like for example, if it's if a player is chasing a ball, then the other teammates should be supporting them.
Yes.
And going
Just turning
alongside
around
of
watching.
See it all the time, yeah.
Hope he gets
follow,
it.
follow,
Yeah.
follow the chaser a little bit, and even the smaller ones, like the pass set goes outside. You shouldn't stay on the. You should all sort of surround the hitter, get ready to cover.
Yeah.
When the ball moves out a little bit, you should sort of be shuffling, ready, expecting the ball. I always tell players, expect the ball to be flying at you at 100 miles an hour
At any time.
at any time. Yeah.
And you can pick up on difficult situations for any player. Like, you guys have seen this all the time. Like when we're playing volleyball, and then let's say we're playing like lower rec volleyball or something, and a serve comes over and it's high to someone's hands. I will typically I'll see that's happening, and I see they're going to pass it, and I'll actually stay in support, because most of the time they're not able to execute the face pass well, and it just goes straight up, and I'm right beside them, right? And so then I'm already responding to this before they've even contacted it, and then I'm there to recover the ball, and then we can like make a play of it. So
Eric.
I mean, we don't play
Meech.
rec volleyball, high level only.
Hey, Meech. Hey, Meech is right here.
Yeah.
What's that?
Okay.
Nothing. I said the beach is right there.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I
love
Anyway, yes, that can happen.
So, and I've only come to pick up on this is because I'm paying attention to not just myself, but everyone else on the court, and like difficult situations, hard balls to pass in certain whatever. So then you can help and recover or whatever. You're always being ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you've
You can go back and look for
seen that happen before.
Yeah, I've seen it happen so many times. So I'm already, and then sure enough, like following, you make the pass, your back row, it goes out to the left side. You're just following, you kind of follow the ball into the attacker, because then you're recovering, and then it goes over, and then you reset, or maybe they get blocked and it comes back right away. It's fluid, like you guys are saying. You're always kind of moving around,
Shifting, floating. Yes.
We see that a lot, like stagnation, just standing on the court, and then all of a sudden like standing up
It's
straight.
not saying that okay, well, it's not me for that particular pass. My job's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God they didn't serve me.
I didn't get. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get the set, and you're just chilling. Like,
There are
Yeah.
some players like that, and you know who you are listening. They're like, thank God they didn't set me.
Yeah.
Right? Thank God they didn't serve me.
yeah.
No, stop it. Start wanting the ball. Because
Yeah.
once you shift your mind that way to wanting the ball as a setter, as a passer, hitter, you become, that you play better because you want the ball rather than playing in fear. So just a little mind shift. Just tell yourself, just start saying, I want the serve, and watch how differently you pursue the ball. Like if the ball is short, now you go after it. If the set's not there, you chase it down and hit it versus, please don't set me.
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
You can kind of hide in sixes, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You get caught, but you can kind of, and like.
And if you do, your teammates will help you hide. Like that's the thing. Right?
Yes.
They'll know. They'll going back to that body language. If you're the type of player who doesn't want the pass, doesn't want the set, then they just won't set you as much.
Yeah.
Like you're the way you approach that hit, the way you approach those sets, you won't get the ball very often because they just they don't want it.
But yeah, and like on defense, if you're checked out, you're not in your position, then someone else who is trying to get after it, then they're going to be somewhat shifting to cover for you, and now they're out of position, right? And so you have this cascading effect.
There's no trust. You're not breeding trust. Your teammates can't trust you.
Yeah, like left sides in 4 covering the really crazy angle, the tip. Like they're always back almost by the tee, whereas they should be pretty much in the middle of the court by the net.
Yep.
It doesn't happen often. Well, actually, it depends on what age group. It happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they also don't want to do it because it's hard work. Because if you are there and the tip happens, you have to pass the ball. You have to execute a nice pass because you're close to the net, and you got to get your butt out, right, and ready to approach. But the thing is, if you do that well, you're setting your team up to have a really good offense, right? Because the other blockers, you're going to make the pass. They're like, oh, they're in the middle of the court. There's no way they're going to get the ball. You bust your ass. You get out there. You spread the blockers. You have open laneways. You have a higher chance for success, right?
Yeah. And in real volleyball, too, if you're not doing your role, then it's just, like you said, that chain reaction of badness that happens. Like, if you're out of position a little bit because you were lazy, then you're in someone else's lane, and then they can't do their job, or they shift. Or if a blocker's lazy getting there or doesn't do their job, then the defenders in the backcourt are screwed. You know, we've all been there where a blocker's let us down, and then and then you look like an idiot because you didn't dig it, but really it's because you were like dancing between two positions.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, that lands, are you supposed to be right there? Well, I couldn't because you weren't there. Like, people don't understand when they're watching it.
But also, it's also bad if you're doing that and then you're taking the blame. You're like, no, like you can't be in two places at once, right? So, but you realize that if you tell someone, no, you should have been there, then you're creating animosity on the court, and that's not going to go down well. But
like I said, it depends on who you're dealing with, right? If you're like brothers and
there's so many scenarios of this. Like even the left side, like the ball goes to the middle of the court and you're left side passing and you're already stepping out.
Yes.
Right. But then they just make a shank and now you're out of position to not recover. Right. So it's just the rally is short and it's intense. So just match just be there.
Yeah, do your job.
Yeah,
and get after, like, you know, setters who go late, right? It makes the pass look bad.
Yes.
But really the pass is a dime. Or setters who go too hard to 2.5, and then the pass is like a step behind them, you know, or they stop too shallow or whatever. So anyway, so many scenarios. But yeah, next.
Off the court. This is pretty big. Just pay attention to yourself, like try to see like what kind of foods work well for you. Like we were saying, what episode was that? But just a lot of kids nowadays are playing a lot of volleyball, right? So high volume, you're susceptible to injuries and stuff like that. But so you need to rest well. You pay attention to what foods work with you, because as we get older, maybe our diets become more sensitive to foods, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And like we all kind of have different things that work for us or don't, right? And so just try to have an idea of what really does work for you, and then it'll just pay off come tournament day or whatever, the night before. You get a good meal in you, and then so rest, eat, pay attention to what.
Diet. I think it's underestimated youth. Like we talked about this as we get older. Like we start to think about it now, and we wish we thought about it when we were in our 20s and teens. But if you get into nutrition, the earlier you do, it's just one of those secret prep weapons that not a lot of people are doing, and you'll wonder why you still have gas in the tank in the finals of the third set or fifth set, and other players are gassed. It might go back to diet, sleep. Right?
Yeah,
diet and sleep are like so basic, secret
weapon,
and we just all disregard it. Like, right?
Yeah, when you know your body ahead of time, like you're in your teens, you're in your early 20s, whatever it is. How good is that to have that in your future life, where you already know what your body does, what it reacts to?
Oh yeah, if you're already building up, that's
Versus if you find out in your 40s or 50s, like that's great. Yeah, the earlier the better. And I'm telling you, if you're a player listening to this, start to pay attention to it. What you eat the night before, what you put in your body.
This is all what we wish 100%. We knew, right? Like I made huge nutritional mistakes, when I was 18 to 25, and it set me back, and I even left the sport for like 7 years because of it, because I was so weak and stuff like that. And then when I kind of fixed it, that's when I went back into it, and then had a and I was able to second
make
go.
up for lost time.
and then like following from that, it's just kind of acknowledging, because these kids can be burning really hard. It's not just sports, but it's their entire lives, their exams and these assignments they have to do, or jobs on the side. Just kind of acknowledge when you're burning too hard and that you need some rest, or you need to go socialize, or you need to spend some time doing something else, or you need just work on mobility, right? Like, that alone is showing, if you're able to then voice it and request that time, or just be like, hey, like I need a break or something. That's, what do I say that is? It's
super valuable.
super. Yeah. I don't want to use the word leadership again. I'm like,
It's leadership.
Ownership, independence, knowing. You're talking about taking a mental
it
break.
exudes strength, right? Like knowing when you are already knowing, like how to self-govern, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Independence.
Autonomy.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. So next,
I don't know why this is flashing now, but we'll see. Maybe we'll just.
that's normal.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, when it's not,
Yes.
look out.
We're worried about our recording, but it's
Mhm.
recording.
Lucky for you, listeners, it's recording.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Doop, 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 doo, doo.
I was just the only other thing I've got here is just the volleyball mindset, or the athlete's mindset, is ubiquitous. It applies to life.
Remember, this is a player show, so you have to explain words like ubiquitous.
Oh yes. Applies to everything.
Very good. Yes.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. Ubiquitous. That's today's word. That's today's word. Today's show is brought to you by the word ubiquitous.
And the letter.
And
Remember,
I was waiting for you to say a letter.
And the letter Z.
Oh, thanks.
this is a reference to
Sesame Street.
Oh.
You know that? Brought to
I
you by the
didn't
letter.
really watch Sesame Street. I think I did a little bit.
Explains
Oh, you've missed
everything.
so much.
Yeah.
You've missed so much.
That's why you eat so many cookies and you don't know when to stop. No, actually, that's
Cookie
like,
Monster?
actually more the kids.
I knew who some of the characters are, like Big Bird and Cookie
Yeah.
Monster
Yeah.
and Elmo.
Actually, Sesame Street is a sponsor of the show.
Mm-hmm. Another good one.
Another sponsor. People, we're gonna run a space for sponsors, unless you get in fast. You know.
Another big thing, and this is probably the most difficult thing for young athletes to grasp, but we've said it before.
Did we cut off your ubiquitous point?
No, it's just,
You were
I guess I
saying-
never really concluded it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What,
I don't know why I wrote it.
What did you say was ubiquitous? I forget.
Well, the mindset
the
you
mindset, yes.
develop through athletics,
Right.
right? So, the reason why I was saying that is, like, don't be too hard on yourself. This too will pass, because I've experienced moments in my life where something from 10 years ago will all of a sudden meet me in the future in an opportunistic or positive way. And then I like look back at that. I'm like, had I have treated that scenario back then differently, or been an asshole or something like that, like this would never have happened. And then all of a sudden you get this weird feeling of like, holy shit, like, because I wasn't.
We don't swear on the show.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I used to say shnikes back in the day in high
Oh,
school.
okay,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Do that.
Don't say that.
Okay.
Just say holy poopers.
Is that the name of your adult diapers?
Yeah.
Poopers?
I don't wear diapers. I'm commando. I let it ride.
No matter what
I
happens.
strap it on. As me should say. Okay. Yeah.
I was waiting to bring that joke back.
Sorry. Yeah.
We could have done it better.
Do it in the third hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the
Okay.
point I was trying to make is, so yeah, like this shitty situation you're in, this crazy
Poopy.
Sorry. Or like, I just remember high school being like a crazy experience, right? And so this too will pass. So just try to be a positive, respectful person, and because it can pay off in the future. And then you're building an attitude and a mindset, just like what were we talking about before? If they're paying attention to nutrition, if you already have this awareness, all of these things you're going to be carrying forward with you, right? And so, and then they can end up paying off in strange, surprising ways in the future. But that again, had I had someone tell me, someone probably did tell me when I was young, this too will pass, right? Like, don't overdwell on
You've
this
said
moment.
that phrase too many times.
I know, way too many times, right?
All I can think of when you say it is Gandalf. You shall not pass.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm done talking.
This too shall pass.
Comments?
No.
Open
But
for
I know
I'm
no,
open
but what
for
you're
feedback.
what you're getting at there is a good point. Is that kids don't we don't understand that the poopy things we're going through and the time end up becoming some of the best things that ever happened to us, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was in a Sri Lankan prison, you know, and I was getting, what's the term? I was I'm just kidding. I was not in a Sri Lankan jail, but you go through horrific things in life or bad things in life, and they do serve you. It gives you perspective for sure, right? Like, this ain't nothing. I was in a jail for 20 years in a Turkish prison. No, it's Turkish. But it all does give you perspective, and it makes you tougher in the future. And like you said, if your reaction, you never know, like what person might surface again in your life, right? And we all know that story where you burn a bridge with someone, and then they show up and they're like, I was your teacher. That's an old commercial. That's a very old reference. That's an old. There was a commercial on TV that used the Top Gun thing.
This is for players, not people 2000 and up.
It's every one of these episodes. Let's face it; these episodes are really for us.
Oh, right.
We are your future selves, so you can
Yes.
take this advice to heart because we've been through it and we're going through it.
Yeah, good point.
This is the things that you're going to think about when you do your podcast, right?
Yeah, take a good look. This is what you're gonna end up like. Good luck. Congratulations.
I can't help but think about Gandalf now.
No, but this too shall pass. No, it's you shall not pass is what he says.
know, but
you
I
say,
wanna
yeah,
say
if
it.
he,
That-
imagine,
Is that going to be on a T-shirt?
that would
We
be,
should do that.
This too shall
On
pass.
a
Oh, it's a
mug.
good. It's actually it's
good
a volleyball
volleyball
pun.
reference.
It's this too
Oh,
shall pass. Oh my god. That's like my last. Remember, we got cut off last episode, but I was talking about how there's a lot of bumps in the road, right, of life and volleyball. Right? This too shall pass. You shall not. Imagine if Gandalf accidentally said. With the movie would have totally changed if Gandalf actually said.
What would we say? This too all pass?
No, if Gandalf said with the same energy, this
goes-
too shall pass. And everybody's like, what?
What? And then he hits it, and the bridge doesn't break, and he walks over. him.
Hey, you're spoiling the movie. Anyway, people don't know what we're talking about. The kids are like, what's a Gandalf?
Not at all. Not at all.
Anyway,
Lord of the Rings.
My list
just
is
to make
almost
that
done.
Lord of the
reference
Rings.
complete.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Look it up.
Well, they're going to look at the new one. then.
Okay, so Eric, is your list done?
Almost.
Oh, shoot.
Part of the last thing was just try to reflect. Difficult to do
Okay.
at that age.
Try to
Difficult to do at this age.
reflect for what purpose?
For the purpose of what we were talking about, because I think some reflection takes place to, you have difficult scenarios. Because like maybe at first, you have a difficult encounter with someone and then you overreact, right? And then it happens, whatever. But then if you don't, get out of that situation and then actually reflect and think about it, a similar situation may happen again, and you'll repeat the same thing, right? And then you're gonna get into this thing where maybe in the future, then running into the same person, bridges burned type thing. So it's good to reflect. It's also good to, I think, have your parents or a role model, someone of wisdom, like one of us.
Yeah, us.
Yeah.
We'll be your
Email us.
cyber buddy.
Yeah. And
We'll
then,
be your internet friend.
and then
Hello, my name is Zibby. I am a cyber friend. Let's hang out. How about a movie?
oh god,
This
I'm
too
just gonna
shall-
keep talking.
This too
all right?
shall pass.
and then talk about it.
Yes.
Because how else do kids grow? I mean, you can learn everything on your own. It's just gonna be a long road, right?
Yeah.
Acknowledgement. I
But
like
we
that.
did talk about, but mentors are tricky because it's
Well,
hard.
they are tricky, so that's what I'm trying to.
hard to impart wisdom.
Mentors are trying to trick you.
No. Mentors can be sneaky. What I mean is they're
Gurus try to trick you.
If they start rubbing their hands like this,
This sounds. No, what I mean is like wisdom.
That's where you put the strap.
So
on.
you can teach. Is this show being recorded? This
You hear Velcro.
mentors can mentors can teach people things, but it's really hard. And you can teach lessons, but it's hard to impart wisdom. Wisdom comes through doing it.
Well, maybe
and failing,
right.
messing up. Whereas, like, you can tell your kid, hey, put on your coat out there. Your joints are gonna be. Put on your coat after practice. You're gonna be sore.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, whatever. And then until they wake up the next morning and go, I can't move. Then you're like, lesson learned, grasshopper.
So maybe what they want is a good soundboard, because really that's
yes.
And then whereas the mentor is just listening and kind of running through those questions and scenarios with them. It's like, well, why did this happen? How did you react? You know what I mean? Which is
how did that make you feel?
Yes, stuff like that.
Okay,
I'm almost done.
Oh, Eric's still going.
Okay, last one.
Oh yes.
Last
one.
Well, last scenario, off season. So enjoy other sports, other life challenges. Everything
good
culminates,
advice, yes.
builds together, kind of like we were talking about.
Yeah, that was in the last episode. Yeah, I think you should go on about that. Kids should have more than one thing they do.
Yes.
Way to elaborate.
Yes. And I was going to be like, take it away. Would you like to provide a synopsis
sure.
of that?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So if you're a kid who's just doing volleyball all the time, the risk advice, so the advice I would give for players, the problem with that is if shit hits the fan in your volleyball world, you don't,
Figuratively.
Yes, figuratively. I can swear figuratively.
Yes.
Okay.
So if shit hits the fucking fan.
No,
No, I can swear. You guys can't swear. Because you're the role models. Remember, I've already been to prison in Syria.
Because he's wearing sunglasses.
People shouldn't. I haven't been to prison. But anyway, the idea is that
why do you
kids,
keep saying you haven't been to prison?
I haven't been to prison.
I would say just name the countries that you have not been in prison in.
That's too many countries. Almost all of them. No, life is a prison. Anyway, so kids, if you're doing just volleyball, the problem was that. Trying for the kids.
The podcast.
The pizzle with zizzle is that if poop hits the fan in your volleyball world, you have nothing else. So it's nice to have your drama club, do maybe some fishing or some other things, other social circles too. By the way, right? I think every player listening can relate to this, where they've had like a great season and then some friends, and then something goes wrong, and then you have no other friends, or you really rely on your school friends, or you really rely on some other friends you have. So the more things you can do, not only athletically is it good, but it's also good socially, that you have different things to rely on. So not only for muscles and injury prevention is it good to have that. It's funny how it's a metaphor. Everything's a metaphor, right? Like your body needs different movements and different things to literally rely on, like those joints and muscles. And so too do our social lives. The universal laws apply, that if you put all your eggs in one basket, you drop that. If you drop that basket, then you don't have any more eggs.
Then you got an omelet.
And it's also good for the cross-training aspect of it, because if you're doing something like swimming, for one, that's not only a great cool down
Wait
for
a minute,
you.
you're just picking that because you swim.
Probably.
It's true.
No more promoting other sports that we do.
My shoulders are so jacked.
Yeah. Just saying that because he's a swimmer.
Actually, that is really good synergy. Swimming and volleyball.
Yeah.
Damn.
And biking as well.
And biking.
Yeah. Biking is very, very good for the quads. It gives a little bit of a different dynamic to what you're doing.
Yeah. Not good for the butt though, is it? Biking. Do you get a big butt biking?
Well,
Good for the quads though. So you swim,
Eric,
bike,
Eric
and then
wants a big butt.
No, well, glutes are important.
Well, the glutes are worked on. The glutes are worked on by the volleyball.
Wrap it on.
We give them a rest. Strap on your bike.
Okay.
Whoa.
Anyway, so Meech is a lifeguard.
Yeah.
Meech was a lifeguard, right? Did you save anybody ever, Meech, while you were lifeguarding?
Countless.
No.
Countless.
Did you
No.
really? Never?
No.
Just yourself. Just yourself.
They were never in any real danger with me on the job.
Ooh.
That doesn't make any sense. That
Yeah, it
doesn't
does.
no,
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. If he was there, like no one was in peril.
Yeah.
No, but they could still drown with
No,
him
but
in the
not with
chair.
him there.
That makes no sense.
Forget about it.
Does
Yeah.
Meech make people float better?
No, but I'm watching.
So
I'm
they
watching,
swim better?
and I'm aware.
So they wouldn't get a leg cramp because you're watching?
No,
They're out of the pool by then.
I don't understand.
He just straps him to the lifeguard thing
we
so they
should
can't
explain.
go in the pool.
We should explain. So Meech was what we call an after-hours lifeguard. So what he would do is he would sit in the
what?
chair when everybody was gone home. So I see what you mean. Nobody was in peril. He's an honorary lifeguard.
Honorary. Oh, man.
You know what's weird about that? Like, you know, honorary degrees and everything? You know, remember Bill Cosby used to get, like, honorary degrees, like PhDs and everything? And he would put them after his name. Did he really have a PhD?
There's such a thing as an honorary PhD.
Yeah.
Well, you know, universities give them out like as a former graduate or something, or not even a former, just as if they come and speak at their university or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think when I was growing up that Bill Cosby had a PhD, and but now I think he was just using the honorary degrees he got, like he was. But I don't know if that's true.
Why
Now,
would they do
keep
that?
in mind that Tom Selleck, Magnum PI,
Yeah,
was
this is
an
the kid show.
honorary,
This is the kid show, right?
was a
Parents.
honorary captain of the U.S. volleyball team. So
Yeah, but he didn't put it on his
Magnum PI, honorary captain.
Yeah, he didn't put down
On his acting profile.
Didn't put on his resume. Bill Cosby used to put at the end of the show, Dr. William But I don't know. Maybe he was.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe he did have a PhD in education. I don't want. Maybe he had a PhD in education. I think he did, but I don't know. We should look that up.
You know, he's still one of the wealthiest actors of all time, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. No, we don't want to talk about Bill Cosby.
Let's get
Especially
off.
on the kids show.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Poor. I mean, anyway, so it's just. I find that. No, no,
Why?
okay.
Why?
That's a different podcast. Anyway, you can't even say poor Bill Cosby anymore because you're like, no,
No, he's not.
that's,
Yeah.
no, that's sad. I mean, it's all just sad. Anyway, this too shall pass.
Okay, my list is done. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Fine. No, just
Fill
kidding.
the blanks.
Meats, do you have anything on your list?
I've mentioned it.
Okay, it all came up. Yeah, Meats did no homework again. Okay, so I'm glad we still have a couple hours left because I'm just going to go through mine now. Okay, number one. In the beginning. No.
It's called
Eric.
the Fellowship of the Ring, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think these ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you all done?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we were basing it on Eric this time. So
Yeah.
What? No, I got to do some things. I got to say some things.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Okay.
think about volleyball as a series of lessons, good, bad, ugly. They're here to serve and teach you, right? We already
Right.
talked about that. Have the mindset you will play with no fear. Don't be afraid. Oh yes, don't be. So in tryouts, to your point, Eric, we talked about don't be ordinary in tryouts. So don't be regular. Stand out, aggressive. Right. Don't be just everybody else is playing it safe. You'll stand out if you don't play. Like think about it. Everybody else there is trying not to mess up. So be the player, not afraid to mess up.
wear a funny hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Orange.
Stand out. Don't.
Orange.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
Play. Don't play like a regular person. Be extraordinary. Oh, here's something. Don't expect extraordinary results from ordinary preparation or no preparation. So many times I see players who are wanting some amazing result, or parents, and yet they're not doing anything extra. So do the extra things that will prepare you for something. I see players that not spending extra time, not doing the things we talked about, eating, sleeping, not working out.
Yeah.
And then they're upset that they're not getting playing time. So
Yeah.
don't be that player. Like you better be doing some extra stuff. And 9 times out of 10, you'll find if you do that, you'll probably get the results you want. We very rarely look at ourselves and say, am I part of this problem? Am I controlling everything I can control? Like even if I'm getting ripped off or treated poorly by a coach.
And I mean, should you really be that focused on the results anyways? Like if you're doing your bit and enjoying the sport and trying hard, and I mean, it definitely sucks not to get playing time. Hopefully you're not getting 0 playing time, but like don't put too much weight on them.
Yes. Yeah. And it's all part of that process, right? Like that, like even the shittiest of things, if you have that long-term approach, it's not necessarily a bad thing for you long-term to go through some crap, right?
Yeah. If you're creating reps and you're doing your own reps, you can't not build.
How is
from
that? Yeah. That
And
doesn't
mentally,
win.
right? Mentally, the mental build is the suffering,
Yeah.
right? That's something we always discount. We always discount the mental workout we get from being treated unfairly or badly. So even that can be shaped positively. we talked about know the difference between, you actually mentioned there's no difference between skills and effort. You can improve skills even with effort. So control what you can.
Yeah.
Be a good teammate. I just go back to this one all the time because I see it more and more. We talked about this. A lot of players are playing sports for the wrong reasons these days. They're coming out of it as jerks still. Sports used to be humbling, but the athlete that blames is really, if you think about it, they're never taking accountability. So they're not learning that lesson of humility. They're just learning to blame, and they come out as jerks.
This is so weird.
Yeah, it is very weird.
Yeah.
That's why sports is shifting, because like they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They're doing it for the social media. They're doing it for the not, I don't want to say glitz and glamour, but they're just doing it for some weird
For the
show.
cool
Not the internal
form or outfit,
yeah,
uniform.
Yeah, and the way it
swag.
looks to everybody else, the
Yeah.
power they're getting from it, not the work ethic, the humility that comes from failing. Same with coaches, by the way, right? Coaches
Yeah.
are getting caught up in this. Parents are getting caught up in this. So that's one thing. I think I always like to remind young players that, be a good teammate. Support others. Don't take them down. Don't be worried about your image. Worry about your legacy a little bit. You want people, I always tell people sometimes, like, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? That's a good indicator of who you are. Like, do you leave people and say, I like that person? Or when you leave the room, are they going to say, what a piece of crap?
Yeah.
So worry about how you're leaving people a little bit.
That's like a healthy insecurity in a way. You know what I mean? Because I think we've all asked ourselves that. You kind of worry about, like, what do they think about me? But it kind of makes you, I don't know, a little anxious. But like, if you feel confident in yourself, it's like, yeah, like the next practice, everything, I'm sure, like, nothing will be weird. Like,
Well, I mean, I don't mean, you're right. I don't want you to be like so worried about like, what is everybody thinking of me now? But like how you left them sort of is the idea. Like, when you're gone, are you going to be remembered in the room, or, even as a teammate? You want people to think that you were a good teammate, not a blamer, not, that, like you said, the positivity thing, right? You want people to remember that side of it. I think that's pretty. But I know what you mean. The danger of worrying too much about what people think.
yeah,
is a problem. But
I think a little bit of it is okay.
Yeah, in terms of this, like, you just want to be known to. I guess for some players, it's the only way that you can get them to understand, like, what will people say about you when you're not in the room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I feel like saying dance like nobody's watching. I don't know why, but that's not really what we're saying.
Or like for this
Talking to
podcast,
What's
talk like there's nobody listening.
Yes, that's that's great advice. That's
We
great
follow
advice.
that all the time.
And we can do it because, well, nobody's really listening. I'm sort of shouting into the abyss here. Okay, I'm just about done. That's a lie. But I'm flying through. Own your mistakes and plays, even if they aren't your mistakes. We talked about that. Know what you can and can't control. Understand that frustration only happens when we try to control what we can't. So the players that are most frustrated on the court, the parents, players, and coaches who lose it, are people who are trapped sort of trying to control the uncontrollable. You know what I mean? Like, you see the coach that's too angry about every little mistake. You see the player that's blaming other people or angry with themselves like crazy over a loss. They're trying to control things that aren't in their control. All you can control is you and your reactions, your effort, your reactions.
Yeah.
So players, make sure that you are understanding that you are not going to control the set quality. You're not even going to control the outcome of a game. You're just going to control you. So keep that in mind, players.
And you can do a quick check-in with yourself, like after you have a blowout, then just take a temperature reading of your team and be like, oh God, I really just like affected the whole mood of my team by doing this, right?
If you're that self-aware.
if you have that self-awareness.
Yeah, because if you have the blame thing, then
You're
it's
not
not
thinking
your
that at
fault.
all.
It's not you at all. It's them.
Yeah.
And again, blame. So if you're a blamer, kids, if you are blaming others, you have to start asking yourself, is that a couple things? One,
What is it achieving?
is my blaming them making them better or worse?
Right.
Anyway, and two, what am I modeling here? Like we talked about when the player, like if you're the blamer and you're the best player on the team, when you leave the room, are you going to make an atmosphere of blame? Does that lead to success in any area of our lives? If people are blaming each other, or if it's collaboration, understanding, acceptance, support, right? In the beach, we see this, right? When we get into the beach episodes, if a partner yells at a partner for making mistakes, you're only angering that partner, or you're making them feel worse.
Yeah.
And they're not going to perform anyway. So build teammates up. If you are a young athlete, build your teammates up, no matter who you are on the team, no matter where you are in the pecking order, and watch what happens. It just makes for better.
Is it only the players who like perceive themselves to be the better ones on the team that kind of do this?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Actually, you'll be surprised. There are some players that are like, I've seen like lower skilled players.
Yeah.
That still have an air of like cockiness about them,
Right.
And they start giving advice to players who are better than them.
That's kind of that illusion of what they think is being competitive or something, right? Like,
yeah, and it's also ties in, I think, with the body language thing we talked about. Like if the good players give off that body language, that they can be told what to do, or they're going to be accepting of it, and it can go away pretty fast if the player stands up and says, "What are you saying? Are you blaming me for this?" And that sometimes usually cuts it off.
That's a fist fight.
Yeah, that's a paddling. Simpsons reference. That's a paddling. Look at it.
Like,
you have too many references, man.
I know. But people,
let's
if people
get
get
an
it,
example. So, having a bad attitude,
that's a paddling.
yelling at the ref,
That's a paddling.
and yelling at your coach.
That's a paddling.
You betcha.
Who says that in Simpsons?
The old guy. You know, the guy with the beard.
I think it's Jasper.
Jasper. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we
Look it up.
We've
Oh.
lost. Do kids watch The Simpsons anymore?
Are the Simpsons still making shows?
It's eternal.
They are.
They probably are, right?
Remember, because the whole Apu
It's
controversy.
like, no, I didn't. pay
Apu's on the
attention.
show, but they have to have. Anyway, we don't get it.
Yeah, political, yeah.
Anyway,
It's like
We're,
season 20 now.
it's a good show. Okay.
Is it still good? Have you watched it?
Still good.
Oh, okay.
Still good. Anytime you watch.
Are they still able to make fun of different races? Because that was such a key part of the show.
I don't want to get political.
No, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We can.
yeah.
I think everybody listening thinks it's okay to make fun of race, as long as it's the ethnic group is like laughing.
Is that what
at it,
they had to get rid of Apu?
Yeah, they had to get. Well, they had to get rid of Hank Azaria doing the voice of Apu because he's a white guy, and so
Wait, really?
yeah, there was talk of getting rid of the character. I thought, but it's funny because as a brown person, I thought Apu was hilarious, and every brown person I know says
Yeah.
that they loved Apu because he was like a three-dimensional character. He had some depth. He was the only character in the show, they say, that had, like, you know, he had a marriage and a family and his life and business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. Anyway, we don't get we're off topic. Jeez, how do we do this? Okay, be stoic. I love telling players this. Whether you're up 5 points or down 5 points, shouldn't be able to tell by looking at you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, oh, but isn't it good to be like driven and excited when you're up? No, but be that way when you're down by 5 too. Like, it doesn't mean stoic doesn't mean like, you know, dead. Stoic means driven. Stoic means not flustered by what's happening around you, right?
Yeah.
So just, I love it when players, you can't tell. Like,
Level.
Yeah, the intensity is high
Yeah.
the whole time. Down 5, down 10, even down, you know, set point for the other team. Play it the same way as the first point. And this is why parents and coaches and even other athletes, I hate this, when they blame a kid for missing the serve on set point. And they
Yeah.
you missed your serve and lost it for us.
Dude,
No, the
whole
point,
game.
Yes,
Yeah.
every point lost.
Yeah,
that could happen
yeah.
at 1-0. It's the same
I know.
damn thing. And that's what feeds into that lack of stoicism, even keeled, is they think some points are worth more than others.
Yeah.
And they're not. That's why you should play every point like it's set point.
Well,
Because it is. It adds
Yeah.
up.
The more you depend on the positive forward momentum, the more susceptible you are to be held back by the negative momentum when momentum switches, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
It's powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff, man. Speaking of powerful, we're talking bringing energy, positivity, and drive. That's all I love to see in players.
Pre-workout.
If you write these things, I'm talking powders.
Don't take too much pre-workout.
No.
Don't take pre-workout at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your pre-workout is the warm-up and energy. You get your body
Yeah,
chemically
and
mixed
sleep.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring energy, positivity, and drive. Those three things, I always think that's it, right? Positivity, energy, and drive. That sort of sums up everything that we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Show over.
Great tips for getting on Team Volleyballogy too.
Yeah. If you
That's what we look for.
Yeah, that's what we look for. We're having auditions for the 4th chair.
Well, I thought we were making like a
team?
10-man squad. Yeah.
Oh, we should, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we mention the video thing that we're doing? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
You just did.
Oh, the video. Yeah.
Well, it didn't go in depth,
Yeah.
so
Volleyballogy.
we'll let them sweat.
Yes.
Volleyballogy videology.
Be an active player, moving and reading, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Unfair circumstances means an opportunity to play aggressively and with no fear. So if you are getting benched players, if you are getting ripped off, don't forget it's a gift. We talked about this in the parents episode. We talked about it in several episodes.
Yeah, this is a big one.
I
yeah.
told my kids this, that if you are in a situation where you're getting ripped off and the coach isn't giving you more playing time, well, then I think the gloves are off and you need to now you can't lose any more playing time. So when you go out there, serve as hard as you can, go for aces, swing as hard as you can, go for kills, and just be aggressive and play with no fear. Because I see players who are competing for playing time often are afraid to mess up. They get a little timid. You're not in that situation anymore. If they're benching you, take it, just go and hammer it. Strap it on.
There, thank you. Well done. Wait, do you tell the young boys to swing as hard as they can? Because sometimes like they can get kind of
well,
like they
here's
can
the
like
thing.
blast it at the back.
Well, here's the thing. So
Like,
if you're a boy who's getting benched and never playing, and you feel that you should be, so your technique is good, and you feel like you should be, how are you going to get the coach's attention?
Yeah.
Are you going to get the coach's attention by going out there and playing it safe? Or are you going to get the coach's attention by just laying into one?
I think
Have everybody in the gym go, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, like, I know it happened. Like, and for people who think that this is all talk and it sounds nice in theory, I did this with my own daughter, and it changed the way she played volleyball. Like, it really did. I saw it, like, indoor and on the beach last summer. She was pounding the ball because she had a little taste of that injustice.
Yeah.
And she let herself just play, like, I don't care. Okay, coach doesn't care anyway, so I may as well just, I'm not going to get more playing time. And she didn't. but when she was in, everybody was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that's good. And that speaks to the unfair coach thing. And we knew that was going to happen, and we knew there was something else going on.
Because injustice prevails.
Well, it's just the power. Well, coaches don't like to. So players' advice for you, sometimes coaches do this because they don't like to admit they're wrong.
Yeah.
Or they put people in these weird boxes, and they never let them out. It's very strange. They don't look at evidence.
They're a sub.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. They're sub, they're starter, but evidence doesn't change anything. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it is lack of knowledge of the game. They don't know what they're looking at. That's why I always tell a lot of parents, I'm like, I don't think the coach knows what they're looking at. Like, I see really good kids not getting any opportunities, and I'm just like, weird. But it's hard to explain, craziness sometimes. But the beauty for the player is that they're still learning, right, from injustice, because it's going to happen in all areas of their lives, and you can still use it as a gift to swing and be free. Know the difference between winners and losers. We talked about toxic and non-toxic. I'd like to give that speech to every team. Winners build players up. Losers criticize. Losers taunt. Because it almost like, and even those players that talk to pump themselves up, kind of bugs me, because I'm like, well, if you need that to get yourself going, there's still something wrong, right? So winners really build other players up, and they make everybody better. They don't make people worse.
Yeah, I think that they should players should focus on your teammates first in building them up, rather than saying, okay, what can I do personally? Like it's if you build a team, you say positive things, you mean positive things, of course. That will not only bring yourself up, but it'll help everyone in the long run too.
Yeah, we've all seen scenarios or had teammates, I think, that were jerks, and it makes you play worse. It makes everybody worse. Or you've seen a teammate and you're just like,
or in the least, just don't be negative, right? Like say you lose the match, but then when the next match is starting, you're back in warm up, you've reset. You're now treating warm up fully, right? Your body language is already back to expecting to win.
Yeah, and I just think point to point, like if you're the type of person who's like, oh, when a teammate makes a mistake, or or like it's not productive, it's not helpful, and honestly, it really does speak to your self-esteem, right? So real confident players never feel the need to belittle other people or coaches or parents.
Yeah.
Insecure people who don't really like themselves need to put down players. So that's what I tell players all the time. If you want the world to believe you're a winner, then you have to understand that a winner is very confident, and confident people generally don't get off on making people feel less. Now, again, you're dealing with layers of things here, but this is why young players, if they want to replicate or copy their heroes, 9 times out of 10 they got there because of humility, and humility stems from confidence. Insecure people look for attention and you know, step on other people to get it sometimes. Confident people generally don't feel the need to shit on people. Yeah, I went there. I went there.
Figuratively.
I'm only swearing. Keep in mind, kids, when I'm swearing, when Uncle Zuby's swearing, he's swearing figuratively. Okay,
Well, I hope.
so that's a lot different.
Mean to shit on
It's a lot. Yeah, no, not literally. No, I'm not literally shitting.
But by saying it,
Sorry,
you're doing it literally.
but I'm swearing in a figurative
literally
sense.
saying.
I don't expect you to
Figuratively.
understand this, Meech. It's very complicated.
I understand that you're swearing.
I know. I just try to, but I'm swearing figuratively. Anyway, we talked about are you expecting to lose? Winners expect to win. Losers expect to lose. Expecting to block. Kill said we already talked about that. Body language we talked about is massive. Don't stand around like a loser and wonder why people push you around. Okay, chest out, knees up. No. Sorry, that's for runners. Yeah, just stand upright. Be erect.
No, too far.
Yes.
Sorry, what are you guys talking about? I'm talking about standing upright. Anyway. Playing to not mess up or forced to... okay. Oh, yeah. So this is a nice little thing I like to tell players. So don't play out of a fear of messing up, players. Don't play like you're afraid to mess up. Play with the mindset that I'm going to make the other team mess up. So even when you're serving, don't serve to players. Serve to lanes. Serve in between players. You know, sometimes we get in this, I'm going to serve it to that player. Don't serve it to that player. Serve it next to that player. Really fast or really short.
This is a big thing.
Yeah, so make every time you send the ball over. I see a lot of, I don't know if you guys were watching the Final Four. Happened yesterday. Did you guys see it?
No.
NCAA Final Four was on, and I was watching it. I was like, just looking at the number of free balls that they send over that are like no challenge at all. Have you noticed this too? Even highest level volleyball. They bump it over, nice high ball right into the middle.
Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were saying like, here you go, Zuby's going on a rant.
I always wonder about that because I'm wondering if like because maybe in their own practice they practice difficult free balls and they always like dime them and nail them. So it's almost like if the other teams are at this level as well, like they're gonna get any free ball. Like I'm just trying to understand the reason
but
why.
You've seen it,
behind
right? You know what I'm talking about.
I knew what you're talking
don't get
about.
because all you got to do is put a little bit on it. I
Yeah.
think the idea is that you don't want to give the point away.
You don't want
bumping
to.
it over.
Yeah.
But I still think that a little faster paced bump to 1 or 5, like deep corner, like not too deep,
Yeah.
but just into the corner.
Or like, because you can hide the speed of a volley free ball.
Yeah.
Right. You can kind of hide like short and deep.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't see a
Seen
lot of
some
it.
creative.
So players. So if players can bring this idea that every time they're sending the ball over, whether it's a serve, free ball, hit, tip, the idea is that you are going to you're not worried about you at all. Get yourself out of the equation. So many players, I tell them to not think about themselves when they're serving. If you're so focused on the ace that you're going to get in between those players, odds are you're not going to miss your serve. But if you're back there going, don't miss while you're bouncing the ball, odds are you're going to miss because you're playing afraid. So take your focus onto how can I mess up the other team here? And that'll cut down your mistakes a ton. It'll get your team a ton of points, and it'll just change your mindset from one of a defensive, afraid player into an attacking player, I think is what I'm getting at there.
And that's the essence of the free ball as well. Like it shouldn't be something ordinary. High lob ball isn't going to score you any points.
Yeah.
The other team is going to drool on how they can attack you.
Yeah, I don't
when
get
you
it.
give them that.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Or at least like give it to the setter.
Yeah, like there's no thought to like,
If
let's,
you can, right?
Yeah, if they're in 1, if they're in 5, I should say. Or no, if they're in 1, sorry. If they're in 1, send it to 1. Or but just deep fly. I don't know. That's to me. That's just, I would spend a little time coaching that. I would spend. I think you'd get a lot of out of system play coming back or messed up passes.
See, that is a huge thing. That's something, and you as well, or both you guys. I had to learn that on my own. Like the difference between don't mess up my serve to I want to mess the other team up.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge, it really, it will increase the success of your serve the
free
threat of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets the focus because whenever, like, let's
The
face it.
difference between confidence and passivity.
And but the real thing is it just gets you off of the fear that's in you into how can I attack. It's just a better way to live, right? I think that if you're overly analytical of yourself and everything you do, you produce anxiety, you produce stress.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just always going after things, then it literally distracts you from that inner dialogue, which is toxic. Because we talked about this in the last show, how we veer towards negative thoughts as an evolutionary practice. Like we tend to expect the worst as an evolutionary trait. That's why we're here. We're the descendants of the people who were rightfully thinking about predators hiding around corners.
Yeah.
That's why our brains work that way. The ones who didn't think like that were probably eaten by dinosaurs because... we all watched the Flintstones, right? It's a good documentary, the Flintstones.
Is it a documentary?
The Flintstones, I'm making a joke about how dinosaurs and humans didn't really coexist.
Yeah.
But a person who thought the Flintstones was a documentary would believe that it was. Sorry.
Nice.
Kids,
jokes are the best when you have to explain them, aren't they?
What's that?
I said jokes are the best when you have to explain
Yes,
them.
so they are. All the kids are howling now. Do they even watch the Flintstones anymore? Kids, put in the comments section if you watch
they're
the
in
Flintstones.
season 49.
I don't think they make the Flintstones, do they?
Definitely
No.
don't.
No. They don't.
There's probably racist undertones.
But do kids even? Yeah, that's true. Do kids even watch the Flintstones anymore? Just the
I've
vitamins.
looked on every
I don't
single
think so.
channel.
And you can't find it.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I mean, you can't say it was out of date because it was about prehistoric.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this up.
2 hours.
Playing. Okay. Be careful, kids, with external validation, positive or negative. So if you're a person who likes external validation and you accept praise and you internalize what they are saying when they're saying good things to you, then you're very much at risk of internalizing when they say bad things to you. So you have to be very careful with advice and what you hear, criticisms. And this is where social media comes in here because we're conditioning ourselves to be held hostage by the likes, and we post selfies and we get rid of them if they don't get a lot of likes. I know I do. And
so much of this ties together, same as the player who depends on that momentum and who's susceptible to it. It's it's parallels in a way.
Yeah.
Even
totally.
keel is a better way to go because then you have that I don't get too excitable for when I'm complimented, but I don't get down if I'm being
criticized. Yes. Yeah.
You could have just said read a Stoic book and then we would have been done.
Read a Stoic book. Yeah.
What's a good Stoic book?
The obstacle is
The Good Life.
The Good Life.
That was a good one.
Good life.
We're gonna write
who's
some. We're
The
gonna
Good
write
Life?
some.
Yeah, we're gonna write some.
We're gonna write some volleyball mindset books that are stoic in nature. Because
Is it gonna be called this too?
This shall pass. I could. This shall. Oh shoot!
Hey,
You were here. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Trademark.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is that you're just so no matter what it is, all you're learning, whether it's good praise or bad praise, you can't have it both. You can't have it one way, right? People who love the positive can't turn off the negative.
Yeah.
And people who focus on the negative will be overly enthused with the positive. And here's the thing I always tell players too. So you hate your coach, you hate whatever, your teacher. And if they give you praise, then you love it. But if they're criticizing you 90% of the time, then you're believing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, the whole idea is you got to discount it all. The idea is like, oh, thank you when people praise you, but understand that you might still have things to work on. Because that person, if they're a jerk who always criticizes you or like they're wrong, then they're wrong in their praise too.
And they have something to work on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like why? Like so. That's my last point: is respect coaches and parents, but be careful whose advice you're following, because what have they done? Do they have credibility? So be respectful, but understand that if your coach
That's
giving
difficult.
you
That's
advice
difficult
that's-
for a young
but-
athlete
well, if
to
it- but here-
discern.
well, if it doesn't pass the bullshit test, like we
Yeah.
talked about last episode, where we should say swearing upsets Amici. He's very sensitive. That's why there's no swearing on the show. It's
Yeah,
almost an
there-
allergic reaction to swearing. It's fucking brutal. So how a player can discern, again, be respectful, but if your coach is telling you stuff that doesn't work in the field, on the court,
Yeah.
then you know that it's not viable. And, like if the bulk of people on the team don't like the coach, or if they're not, you have to be that's why they go seek out other clinics, other
Yeah.
coaches, other opportunities. Again, be respectful. Remember, they have some power here, and that's probably why they're in the profession.
Yeah.
To get that power.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful about which information you internalize, right? If it's not working and you keep doing what they're saying, that's how you know it doesn't work. That's how I, as a player, like the beauty of when I was learning and taking coaching courses and working with other coaches, I was good at separating filing the bad advice from people who hadn't played versus people who had played high level. Or if they were just a good coach who maybe didn't play, but they were open to learning themselves and they learned from other players. Because if it doesn't work, right? If it doesn't work on a court, and I could say why. So young players, you have to start building up your set of whys, right? Why are this doesn't work because of this. Now, maybe the coach will teach you something in your technique is wrong, and that's why it's not. You're not actually doing what I'm saying. Young players sometimes don't know. They think they're doing what the coach is saying, but then the coach is like, no, you're not getting off the net far enough. That's why the spike approach isn't working, or the spark approach.
Much more potent potential.
Yes.
Potential voltage. Get it?
Yes. So be careful who you're listening to and whose information you internalize. Sorry, Eric, I just glossed over your joke there. I felt really bad there.
No, but I had the joke and then I explained it. So then,
yes. What was the joke?
Potential. And you referred to voltage as potential. So.
That is funny.
Because I said spark?
Yeah.
It's good that Meech, rather than laugh, said that is funny.
We don't laugh on the show.
No laughing.
We don't laugh or swear.
All right.
Completely.
So I think we're all set. So players,
Single tone. What's
if
the
we were
term
to
for
sum it all up for players before we leave, players play better.
What's the big idea?